Hey everyone, welcome to Foster Care Friday, where we're going to talk to you about how to be a foster parent.
Yep. That's basically what you do. That's how to be a foster parent.
So now you can be a foster parent. Good luck. So how do you be a foster parent? No one really knows. But we've got a few pointers for you.
Right. We didn't know.
We had no idea what we were getting into. You're just kind of like thrown out there and you go for it. So the first things first, after all the process, you get licensed, which we'll talk about that in another video about the licensing process. But the phone call comes. They call you. They have a placement for you. What do?
Well, first of all, let's talk about the word placement.
Right.
Some people complain about that word because they're like, they're people. But let's be real. If you're a teacher, you call your kids students.
Right.
We don't look down on that. We call them placements because sometimes it's an easier general term. Did you get a placement? Instead of like, did you get some kids? We say,
did your kids leave? Or
Yeah. Do you still have your placement? Did you switch placements? It's kind of just more of a professional term for it.
Right.
So,
like patient and client and,
right.
things like that.
So, placement. And it also refers to, because sometimes your placement isn't just one kid. In our instance, we only took sibling groups. So, we had one situation where we took a single child,
right. Yeah.
Special situation, but our thing was we took sibling groups.
Yes.
So, first of all, you get the phone call for a placement. When do they normally come?
Nighttime. They normally come at night. Because why? Well, because it's usually through the day. Things happen at school, at the doctor's. Somebody sees something. They get CPS over there. Or and nighttime is a general statement because we've got placements from like 5 o'clock till 1 a.m.
Right.
I think we only had we had one placement on Thanksgiving Day that was at like 11 o'clock in the morning.
But he had been removed the night before and stayed in a
like
hotel.
1 a.m.
Yeah, stayed in a hotel with a CPS worker.
No, he stayed at the office with the CPS worker.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, there was no hotel. They was sleeping in the office of the CPS office. So, yeah, they usually come at night. So, just for various reasons, it's
oftentimes when they come.
Yeah.
So, first you get your phone call and they call. And what do they usually say? They usually go, all right, we have a African American boy 4 and a mixed little girl 2, and there's a baby in the hospital. Would you be willing to take the 2, possibly the 3rd one later on? They are healthy. What healthy means is they do not have a colostomy bag. They do not have
visually they are healthy.
Visually they are healthy.
There's no impairments, physical impairments. They're not
special needs of any sort.
Right.
Well, that's not even necessarily true.
Right.
Basically, when you look at them, they're fine.
They look normal.
Yeah, they're fine. They'll let you know if, say, they have broken bones. I've had friends gotten calls where they're like, we have a baby with 2 broken arms and 2 broken legs. Like, they'll let you know those things. So, like, they're going to be casted up. Diaper changes are going to be a struggle. Sponge baths, things like that. So, they kind of give you what stats they know.
Which is usually not very much.
It's usually wrong.
It's usually wrong.
They handed me the heaviest 8-month-old I have ever seen. They handed her to me and I went, she's 8 months old. They went, no, they forgot the one. She's 18 months old.
Right, yeah.
Well, that makes sense now because she's quite large. Which
is hard when you're getting an 8-month-old baby. You go to buy, like diapers and stuff for your first placement because you don't know what to do on your first placement.
You run to Walmart last minute.
Yep. You go to Walmart, you get a bunch of stuff. You're like, I don't know what I need. And so you get like, what size diaper? We have no idea. Diapers are by size, not by age.
Or by weight, yeah.
Or by weight. And they're like, well, she's 8 months old. She should be this size. We just got like 4 different sizes of diapers. And thank goodness we did that because we got one set that was like
close enough
to get us through the night.
Got us through the night.
Yeah. And so, yeah, they were like, she was like 32 pounds or something. She's a solid little girl. Like,
dang, she was cute.
She was very cute.
So they show up, and they come in your house.
Right.
And sometimes there's one CPS worker, sometimes there's two. For our first placement, there was one. And so they came in, and thankfully our agency, they actually brought 2 workers. One helped with the paperwork. The other one actually played with the kids for us. And you sit down with a stack of paperwork about that thick per kid.
Yeah, that's per child.
So, because you have to sign all these paperwork.
Because you are now the legal guardian. You can sign for medical and consent. You
Education decision makers.
Decisions.
All your rules.
Rules. And if they're old enough and kind of comprehend, they have to sign the rules. And I know we're missing a whole bunch of other things, but there's other stuff that you go through to sign. Basically, general placement paperwork that these kids are going to be placed in your home, and there's a whole bunch of other stuff. So it's a lot. But you get through all that, everybody leaves, and now what? You're left with 1, 2, 3, however many children just got placed in your home.
Now what? So what we do next is we check for hair lice.
Right.
We check for lice.
Check for lice, check for any other kind of, just check them over physically to make sure they're good. Because, like we said, you don't know where they came from. You don't know the situation they're in. And we usually just check them for lice and put them straight in the shower.
Yep.
Get them kids washed, because you don't know the last time that they even had clean water. And we're not judging anyone. We just know people have different situations. But some of the kids we've came with have been in very dire need of a bath. And a shower. So usually Berlin does a showering on the first day. I step back. I don't do anything at all. I usually go make food, because also you don't know when they come in at night.
When they ate last.
CPS has been there for a few hours. They've been going through this process. CPS may or may not have got them food. They may or may not have even been hungry, because let's face it, if you were just literally ripped away from your family, the only thing you ever known, would you be hungry? No, you'd probably have a gut ache. So at least now they're probably, they're so confused. Get them in the house. She's washing them. I go cook food. So, and they're kids. You do what you can to make them food. Someone's not going to like something, but you just say...
Oftentimes we would go... They never get to eat them again normally, but oftentimes we would go and buy, chicken fingers. Yes. Because kids like chicken fingers. So we would keep those, and those would go in the oven. Some ketchup.
Right.
Easy peasy. Yep. Lemon squeezy.
Right.
So that's what we do. So we get them showered, fed. Since it's usually late at night, it was so many times it was 2 a.m. and
getting them in bed at 2 a.m.
We get those kids to bed. The first night they normally crash
because they've been exhausted. They're emotionally depleted. They're mentally. They're confused, because you can't really tell a 4-year-old, well, your parents were doing this, this, and this, and so that's why we got to remove you. They don't, even if you did tell them that, even if you're straight to the point, well, your parents have all these things going on, that's why we have to remove you, they're not going to understand. They still want to go to mom and dad.
Sometimes it's just normal. It's just normal.
This may not be the first
It's
time.
not weird. They always go to jail. They always smoke that. Don't you smoke that? Right. So, don't you pass out? It's normal to them. So, you can't explain it to them. So, basically, we just put them to bed. Right. And then the next day, thankfully, they usually sleep in. And we start to get on our schedule. For us, it was hard at first because we had never had kids, so we were learning how to have a schedule.
Right.
But the next day, what I do, your responsibilities as a foster parent, is then you have 30 days to get them into a doctor.
And this is, mind you, we are in Texas, and so this is based on the Texas, but I think a lot of states are very similar in the way they do things. So some things, don't take our word for it 100%.
Right.
You may have to do a little bit of research, but as generalities, this is kind of how it works, yeah. So
30 days to get them to the doctor, 90 days to get them in the dentist. Right. I try and get them in the doctor as soon as possible.
Do they have health insurance?
Yeah. They're on Medicaid. Okay. So they automatically get Medicaid.
Right.
Automatically. Right. Dental's covered, medical's covered, counseling and therapies are covered.
Yes.
Automatically, whatever they need play therapy, physical therapy, occupational therapy, speech therapy, it's all covered.
So from day one, it's covered, and this is prior to, you just have paperwork, and you might not even have a card. We had to take, one of our little girls, she got bit by a bug on her arm, and her arm swelled up. We had to take her to the ER. Well, we didn't have the Medicaid card yet, but we're able to take the paperwork, and they found her in the system before we even had any information. So it works out, everything's covered, got her the stuff she needed to get better. And
Yep, that packet of paperwork is your key to everything.
Right.
So we take them to the doctor, and we usually go in and get them checked out.
Right.
Tell them what we know about them. I mean, I've gone in at times and been like, okay, I know that these drugs were in their system, or I know this was happening, or I know that was going on. So I kind of am able to tell them that. A lot of times we don't know a lot. Oftentimes the doctors actually, a lot of times they've been on Medicaid, so they can actually get more information than we can. So we get that done. Yeah, so we get that done. If they're not up to date on vaccines, they do that because that is required for Medicaid. They have to be up to date on vaccines. And
whether you agree with it or not,
yep,
unfortunately, you know, some people, I know people have different beliefs on that. We're not going to get into that. It's a whole different fight for 1,000 other years. So, but yeah, they have to get vaccines. They have to get all that stuff. And, you know, you go through all that. So, and then, but that's, you know, within the first 30 days. But day 2, it's, what do these kids need? Well,
hold on, wait. Oh. There's a 5-day thing.
Oh, there's a 5-day thing.
5-day thing or 2-day thing? I think it varies. If you have kids that are school age, which is kindergarten on up, have to be in school. You cannot homeschool them unless there is a long process to get an okay. We've tried.
Yeah.
If they are in preschool, they do get preschool.
Yep.
But what if they're younger than that?
Then they are home. If you
But what if I worked?
So if both parents work full time, then daycare is covered. It just does take some process, and there's probably different specifics between different states. But it is covered. They help you out in that way, so they cover daycare if both parents work full time.
Right. So 40 hours a week.
Yep.
And that you have proof of that you work 40 hours a week.
And it's not just any daycare. You can't just take them to Aunt Joe's down the street. They have to be state certified, whatever. At least here in Texas, they have to be state certified. Because a lot of times they do a lot of, like, they push a lot of teaching things. So, like, we had a little girl that was, you know, they were in foster care for a while, and they, you know, she was really, really smart for a 4-year-old. She knew a lot,
she knew a lot. She was smart.
She was smart. She almost knew as much as her 6-year-old brother. Yeah. So, like, they were basically at the same level of doing their ABCs and stuff. So, yeah, so they have foster, if they're not going to school, then they have daycare. But before that, before you can even take them out of the house, you got to inventory what they even have, because most likely they came with what was on their back.
Yep. So the night they show up, you actually need to, what they do come with, take an inventory. We have this sheet where it goes, they came with this many shirts, this many pairs of socks, this many this many that. I mean, I had a 4-year-old little girl that came without pants. Like, her inventory was a pull-up, a shirt, and a hospital gown.
It was a hospital gown. Did she have a shirt?
Oh, I think she had a hospital gown on. Right.
And we know she had a hospital gown on and diapers, and she may or may not have had shoes. We know we had a little boy that came without shoes. So we had to get other shoes, like we had little girl's shoes left over that we'd bought extra, and he had to wear little girl's shoes that hurt his feet.
They were flip-flops.
They're flip-flops.
Okay.
They're like yellow polka-dotted flip-flops, right? But that's all we had for him to get into the store to go try things on, because, again, we have no idea what size these kids wear.
So what do you do if they don't have clothes?
So here in Texas, they give you, if kids are emergency placed, which most times they are.
Which means they're just placed last minute.
Right.
In the middle of the night.
Or what?
They pick them up that night.
Or even if it might not be an emergency placement, you don't know what they're coming with. They may not have the necessities of clothing that a child should have. So they gave us $100, not very much, but at least $100 per kid to take them and buy them clothes within 72 hours, I believe. You had to do it within 72 hours, and you submit this receipt, and you get reimbursed for that. So you got to get them, like, shirts, shorts, pants, pajamas, underwear, socks, shoes, whatever.
Coats, if they need it.
Coats and those things. Most of the time, $100, if you have kids, does not go very far at all when you literally have a kid that comes with nothing.
Right.
If you only had to go buy a couple things, sure, $100 do great. But when you literally got to buy an entire wardrobe for kids, $100 does not do great. So what we found is we started going to Walmart. And little tip, Target does sell stuff a little bit, like, slightly more expensive than Walmart, but it's a lot more stylish,
better quality.
Because then when these kids leave, we always send all their clothes with them.
Right.
So everything they had some new stylish clothes, and they could at least have something take back with them. At least keep them going for the next 6 months, maybe a year. I mean, it depends on what size they were, but yeah. So at least they had something. So at least you got to get them clothes. So then after that, it's just kind of get them into a routine, get them kind of working with your schedule, your maybe food habits, because everybody has different ways of eating. Some people eat super healthy, and some people eat on the other end of the spectrum. So, and these kids, you don't know where they came from. You never know. You'd be surprised. We had little girls that we made Brussels sprouts, and they literally gorged themselves with Brussels sprouts.
I still remember her with her cheeks full, and she was realizing that the cookie sheet was running out of them, and she was, "Can I have more Brussels sprouts?" And I took my plate, and I went, "Sure." I don't normally share food, but the girl wanted Brussels sprouts. I think it's the only time I've ever shared my food with kids.
Yeah.
But, yeah, we've had both ends of the spectrum. We've also had kids that were very behind. We've had kids that we had a 2-year-old that, she turned 3 the day she moved out, but she tested on a 6-year-old level. So there's
Super
different
smart.
spectrums
Right.
of things as well. But basically, so our process of being foster parents, from then on out, you just kind of live your normal life. Our job is to teach them sometimes manners, discipline, how to be kind, proper English, sometimes English.
And just
here in
keep them
Texas.
normal, do normal kid things. Like we had kids, we took them jiu-jitsu. I did jiu-jitsu, so we got them. They want to do it, so we got them into it to do sports. We took them to birthday parties. We had birthday parties for them and had people over from church to the house.
I take them to mom's groups once a week.
Right. But the one thing that is different is you have a weekly meeting you have to go to with CPS and usually the parents. So usually, a lot of times the state will provide transportation.
If you need it,
If you need it, or you can transport them and you just take them to the visits, usually an hour, maybe 2 hours, depending on the situation. And then they go in, and again, you are CPS does a really good job of keeping us separate, keeping the foster parents and the biological parents separate. So
if need be, there have been times that I have met the biological parents, and it's been totally cool. I had one situation where I always took them to the visits because it was in the mornings and stuff. Right. And I would take them into the visits. They would come out to the car, get the kids. They would take them in. I would go hang out at Brahms or McDonald's or something and have coffee for an hour. I would come back and they would bring them out to the car. But then later on in that case, I actually ended up meeting their mom. Right. And when they actually left our home, now we still stay in contact. I actually just got an email from her last week with pictures that just I couldn't sleep that night. I was so excited. So
I didn't want to see the pictures, so I could sleep.
So you have that option, and some people want to be there to motivate and help the biological parents, which is a great thing if you can do it. Others want to stay separate, and that's okay too. Yeah. So a lot of that's basically your job is to just be a parent to them.
They still need love. They need to be held. They need to be cared for. They need the affection, because comfort, because especially with younger kids, that is literally part of their mental basically their neurological, how their brain forms is bonding and holding them, that physical touch of a baby being held, and just kids just want to be touched, held. Some are maybe not so much, but other ones they just want. We've had one, he's like, "Can you hold me?" Every night before bed, will you hold me? Yeah. Especially at first, because he's sad. He's sad that he was not with his mom and his dad. I understand. He doesn't know what's going on. We're this, we might get a bad rap because we're the ones that are here, but they just need help. So you just do normal parent things from then on. That's it. It's, the first placement is the hardest, because you're like, what do I do? Because they teach you how to keep kids alive, but they don't teach you how to actually do anything else. Do the daily thing.
How do we change a diaper?
We don't have kids of our own. And, I've never changed a diaper before. Learned pretty quickly. They don't tell you what does an 18-month-old eat? What does an 11-month-old eat? Do they eat solid food?
What does a 6-month-old eat?
Do they eat solid food? Do they eat,
baby food? What do they do?
What do they do? And a lot of that time, just because one 11-year-old is eating solid food doesn't mean another
11-year-old?
Yeah, just because 11-year-old is eating solid food doesn't mean the other one is. No, 11-month-old is eating solid food. Another one may just be on baby food. So you got to think back,
you've got to kind of figure it out, basically. Yeah, so the first placement is the hardest, but basically, as a foster parent, your job is to just normally take care of them. Yep. A case will last anywhere. The average is 9 to 12 months. It can be extended to 18 months, would you
Yeah,
say?
yep.
Somewhere in there, but 9 to 12 months is the average. So
Right.
we were bizarre. We didn't have kids. Their cases lasted that long, but we didn't have kids long term. The longest we had was 4 months. So
Right.
basically, that's what you do. I mean, the big thing is you parent. You have your first immediate things you have to do, like we gotta get doctors, dentists, stuff like that.
Clothes, get
Clothes. We have to get, they have a visit each week. But other than that, you just parent normally.
Right.
You have your house rules. You, just like you would your kids, we'll talk about things on how there are some parenting things, rules you have to follow.
Right.
But as for the rules you're giving them, they're going to be the same as you would
Right.
for your biological children or your adopted children.
Right.
So that's basically what you do. That's how to be a foster parent.
So now you can be a foster parent. Good luck.
So thank you for listening. We're going to do more of these videos.
Yep.
Make sure you give a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. And we are going to be doing a Q&A. So
Right.
we want
Questions.
Questions.
Whatever questions you have.
in the comments down below.
Right.
Put a question. We don't care what it is, what it's about. If it seems bizarre, weird, if it seems a little bit out of line, it's probably an accurate question that we've been asked or that we have asked.
Right.
So
Yes.
ask it. Let us know. Hit the notification bell because that will let you know when a new video comes out.
Right.
So you don't miss it. Because you don't want to miss these foster care Fridays. You're going to learn a
Right.
lot, and even if you're not ready to step straight into foster care to be a foster parent,
There's a whole bunch of other things you can do. So.
yep. So we will see you guys soon.
All right.
Bye.
See ya.
Yep. I'm Berlin.
I'm Lance, and
We should start over because there was an awkward pause. Make sure it's on before we start talking.
It's on. Yes, yeah, it's on.
I'm Berlin.
I'm Lance.
How are we doing this?
From the very beginning.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Hey everyone.
Just pause.